Going back and forward with our designer Verg, and we're like, what can we do? And we're throwing ideas around, like cold, the snow, the mountains, whatever.
Yep.
And he sort of come to me and said, what if I draw a Yeti? And I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, I can make it doing a shoey. And I'm like, that's a good idea.
Footy.
A footy. So he's done a pretty cool design.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of A Beer with the Brewer, and the brewer himself, Matty C. How are you today, buddy?
Very well, mate. Even better to be sitting here with you on this gorgeous afternoon.
Oh, so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about gorgeous, this new beer come out. Ooh, this little cold IPA, the return of the Yeti. Grab that one right there. Whew. Now, we might as well crack it.
I guess so,
Give it a little bit of breathing room. And so we tested this style out at the end of last year for one of our birthday beers with the legendary brewer himself, Hendo. That was an absolute cracking beer. Our first cold IPA as well. So we've decided to release another one, a little standalone, outside of our birthday beer series that we did at the end of the year. So yeah, this is what we've come up with. So it's the return of the Yeti. Obviously, there's a Yeti on the front, and you can see that he's doing what we like to call around here a shoey, but it's out of a foot.
So a footy?
A footy, yeah. I don't know how...
Not like a footy you kick, like a foot, apostrophe E-Y.
Yeah, correct. Quite difficult to drink out of if it was a true foot, but you get the gist. We like to do it every now and again. You've probably seen on our social medias a bit of a shoey just to revel in the fun of the tap takeovers and the events that we do share with our revelers, don't we, Matty?
Yes, we do.
And especially Fraze. Fraze loves a shoey, doesn't he? Fraze from Convoy.
Don't dub him in, mate. His boss might watch this.
No, okay. He doesn't like it at all. So yeah, Matty, give us a rundown on this one, because it is slightly different to the one that we released at the end of last year, but the same sensational outcome.
Absolutely. So yeah, as you mentioned, we brewed it last year with Hendo. The first one we've made, it's become a bit of a popular style in the last 6 months. So a cold IPA, it's an interesting style.
It's an IPL, right?
Yeah, well, I guess it's close to an IPL. It depends how technically you want to be.
How many people you want to wind up.
Yeah. I guess the difference really is the fermentation. It does use lager yeast, but we sort of pitch it at a lager temperature, so sort of 10, 12 degrees.
Yep.
And then rather than control the temperature at 12 degrees like you would a lager, we let it warm up to about 20, so it's more like an ale.
So let it rip through.
So it's pretty much like a steam ale, I guess.
Yeah, okay then.
Yeah.
So that's just a natural rise in fermentation.
Yeah, so when
temperature?
the fermentation is chugging along, it creates a lot of heat from the energy of the fermentation.
Yeah.
So we control every fermentation, really. So ale normally ferments between 18 and 20. Lager is cooler at sort of 12, and you'll set the tank to maintain that temperature. With this, you don't. You sort of set the tank at 20, 21, and let it rip through the ferment. So it ferments quite quickly. The lager yeast gets up a bit warmer, probably creates a bit more of a fruity profile than it normally would as a lager at those warmer temperatures. But it sort of ties in really well with the hops.
Now, is there a specific lager strain yeast that you use because of its characteristics that you want to come out in this beer?
We use a fermenter strain 3470, which is a lot of brewers would use that.
In their general
lagers. It's quite a neutral, is that how you say it?
Neutral.
Lager strain. So even at those warmer temperatures, it doesn't throw as much ester as sort of a traditional German lager, or some of those Pilsner yeast might. So it's pretty suitable for the style.
Okay.
And then in terms of the malt base, it's sort of based on a light lager, a light American lager. So it uses about 20% corn.
Ooh.
So pale malt, corn, that gives it a really nice light profile.
Yep.
And really sort of allows the hops to zing.
That's a bit of a strange malt bill for like an IPA type of beer. Usually they're all grain, like all malt base without that corn. So
core IPA, for example, is all American ale, which is a lighter ale malt, and then a bit of Vienna. So normally you do want a bit of maltiness in there to balance the sort of the bitterness and the hoppiness. But this style, it does have that lighter body, so the hops do really stand out. It's sort of hopped like a West Coast IPA as well, so should have plenty of bitterness, and then heavily dry hopped like most of our IPAs are. So I guess the difference with this one than the one we made with Hendo, just change the hop bill up a little bit, just to change it slightly. Yep. Play around with the new sort of hopping. And then aside from that, there wasn't too much of a difference. Like the grist was pretty similar, the same yeast. But it has, flavour-wise, it has come out a bit different.
Definitely has.
I think so.
One of the, I reckon one of the main kind of reasons is that we put in Enigma.
Yeah, this one has Enigma, whereas I think the first one was Eclipse.
Eclipse, yeah.
So they
have Galaxy and Simcoe?
Yeah, Galaxy and Simcoe.
Yeah.
And the first one had a bit of nectar on it, whereas this one doesn't. So this one is a little bit, I think, danker.
Very much danker.
It's got some of those classic sort of flavours from Enigma, and then you get all the fruitiness from the Galaxy.
Spice, pepperiness.
Simcoe is sort of a classic American that throws a little bit of pine, and then also it's quite fruity as well.
Yeah.
So in combination, they come out really nice.
Yeah.
And we only canned this last week, so it's still super fresh.
Oh, when it came out of the tank, tasting it out of the tank, it tasted like you were chewing on pine bark.
It was quite dank.
That was dusted with pepper.
So I've mentioned before how much IPA changes.
Yeah.
So this is a week on, and now it's sort of smoothed out, and it's
definitely
drinking
has,
quite
definitely
deliciously.
has.
We had a bit of a going away party for Geordie, one of our youngsters, on Friday night.
Let me guess. You did some.
We did a bit of
QA.
road testing of the cold IPA. And I think we found, as you sort of had one or two, it didn't become sort of, often with IPA, 2, 3 might be enough.
Yeah.
But this one was quite moreish.
Is that because you fall over, or is that because your palate fatigues?
A bit of both.
Yeah?
Probably more because your palate fatigues.
Right, okay.
If you get some really chewy, bitter IPA. But this one, I think because of the light malt profile.
Yes.
And the way the hops sort of play in together, it's very drinkable.
Yeah, really nice clean finish as well.
So yeah, it's come out all right. And then, as you mentioned in the intro, the Yeti, we wanted to change it up from the Nemesis and sort of make a new beer, I guess. So I was going back and forward with our designer Verg, and we're like, what can we do? And we're throwing ideas around, like cold, the snow, the mountains, whatever.
Yep.
And he sort of come to me and said, what if I draw a Yeti? And I'm like, oh yeah. And he's like, I can make it do on a shoey. I'm like, that's a good idea.
Footy.
A footy. So he's done a pretty cool design.
Yeah.
With this one, I think I did a bit of work back and forward with him before I presented it, and then surprised everyone in the design meeting. And I think everyone sort of overwhelmingly said, yeah, that's really cool.
Yep.
Of course, we had to change a couple of little details as we do.
Yes.
But the design, fun design, and sort of ties in beautifully with the beer. So
Yeah, awesome.
yeah.
Well, fantastic. Well, another great one to start the year off to the collection. I guess this is a style that is growing in popularity.
Yeah, there's more and more around of them.
Newer style out there. Probably maybe over the last 4 to 6 months, I guess.
Yeah, I think I first saw it about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So there is, particularly with IPA, there's often fad IPAs. We saw Brute IPA for a while.
That came and went pretty quick.
That came and went pretty quick. Oat Cream IPA, that's like a version of a hazy IPA that we've done. And now cold IPA. But this style is probably my favourite of those three, to be honest.
Yep.
Very drinkable, got the beautiful hop flavour.
Yeah, definitely.
And this one could probably stick around, I reckon. Something a bit different.
I guess, it's also good for you to learn different skills and use different styles of yeast outside of their traditional way to be used, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing the sort of different flavour profiles you can get out of using the same ingredient but using it differently.
Yep.
Yeah, in this case, the yeast. So pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Bit of fun playing around with it.
Fantastic. Well, guys, this will be out in trade as of next week. We will throw the stockists up for you guys to go and grab some of this and have a try yourself. It is quite a punchy IPA, so if you do like your big, bold IPAs, you'll definitely get onto this one and love every sip. So, Matty, sensational again, as always, and a pleasure. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, guys, catch us next time.